This week on the podcast, we're joined by the king of hype, American Riot. We've got not one, but two free-to-play shooter titles to talk about, some news on Google Stadia, as well as the FTC eyeing the right to repair. All of that and more in this week's episode. Roll the intro. Welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green. How you doing, Green?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Danny?
I am doing pretty well. And I just recently reorganized like my entire space, and now I got like the sound panels behind me. I got some lights. You guys can't see my kitchen in my living room anymore, which is kind of nice.
It's kind of sad that we can't see you get up to get your drinks, though, because those calves, like I tell you, just primo fucking calves.
I know. With us this week, our guest, the one, the only, the king of hype, American Riot. American Riot, how you doing, dude? You're muted, my friend.
Oh, I'm muted. Yes, I'm pushed to talk. Yeah, what's up, boys? Good to see you guys, man. Good to be on the show. Yeah, man, it's been a while since I was on last, and so I'm excited that you invited me back. Like, I obviously didn't totally fuck up the first time I was on, so that's good, you know?
Yeah, so real quick, it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I originally had you slated to come on for our second appearance right around the time that you had your baby. And
baby Riot. Yeah, he kind of messed that up. Yep.
And I never asked you again. I figured you just had so much on your plate with a new kid that I'm like, I'll get to him at some point. So here we are. We finally got back to you.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it. Yeah, you know, a lot of people realized I had a lot on my plate. Even some of my community members not be watching the podcast right now in your chat thought that I would disappear forever after baby Riot arrived, and rightfully so, based on track records of most streamers when they have kids or most aspiring artists when life happens. But we're still rocking and rolling and fighting tooth and nail every night and grinding 6 nights a week and not sleeping at all and working 50 hours in the day job and raising a baby and hanging out with the wife. So yeah, that's my life. That's where we're at.
So Riot, for those who don't know you yet, go on ahead and tell the kind folks who you are, what you do, and where people can find you.
Yeah, so my name is American Riot, a.k.a. Zaxine of Hype. We like to perform metal vocals on stream. We're actually working with a couple metal bands, one very successful metal band right now, and then another metal band that we've got lined up working with them. I play tactical shooters on Twitch. I play really all kinds of shooters, survival games like DayZ and Scum, shooters like Squad. We've been playing a lot of Caliber lately. The Battlefield series has a special place in my heart. We play a little battle royale every once in a while. But yeah, we're primarily on Twitch. I'm on YouTube as well. We just started really pushing the YouTube channel. We're about to hit 350 subs on YouTube. We're doing shorts. So a lot of funny shorts we have with Miss Riot and myself, and then gaming content on YouTube as well. That's been really good. And we're on Instagram and TikTok. So, but mostly Twitch 6 nights a week and expanding to different platforms. And I've been streaming for about 3 years now. So it's been a crazy 3 years. I taught myself to scream. And so now we're kind of expanding into music and other platforms. And yeah, that's my life. And I have a baby. Baby Riot is a 1.5-year-old. And my wife, Miss Riot, who is like the manager of the channel and helps take care of that. And then, I work 50 hours a week in a day job for a big company. So yeah, that's my life. That's who we are. And that's where we're from.
Excellent. And all the links will be down in the description of this episode on YouTube or in the podcast feed. We appreciate you guys for watching and listening. If this is your first time joining us for Next to Nothing, welcome. Hopefully you guys get a lot of value out of this show. If you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, as well as everywhere podcasts are found. Each week, we do have a question of the week, and this week, courtesy of A Riot, we're asking you, what is your summer blockbuster in gaming? What is that game this summer that this is going to be your summer game, let us know in the comments of the YouTube video. You can also tweet at us. You can tweet at me at Danny K, DANIECAE on Twitter. You can also let us know in the live chat right now if you joined us live. And I think that's all I've got for... I will say Rev is gone this week. Guys, go send him some good love and vibes. He really needs it. He is taking a mental health week this week. So go on ahead and give him some love. I think we're ready to go on ahead and just get into this game. This first game of ours. You guys ready to talk about some Enlisted?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
All right, so Enlisted is a free-to-play first-person shooter by Gaijin Entertainment, the same company behind games such as War Thunder, Crossout, Star Conflict, and Wings of Prey. Before getting too far into the review, the game requirements: Windows 7 or newer. You need to have an Intel Core i3 or better, 8 gigs of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce 660 or AMD Radeon Series 7800 or better. You also need 12 gigs of hard drive space. It is also available on Xbox Series X and S, as well as PS5, and is crossplay. Let me kind of get into some of the basics here, and you guys can interject at any point to add your thoughts here. So the game is a World War II shooter with currently 2 campaigns, the Battle of Moscow and the Invasion of Normandy. There's an upcoming campaign, which is the Battle for Tunisia, and then there's a 4th one coming that I'm not sure. I don't remember what exactly that one is going to be. The game has... So, like I said, it's a World War II shooter. It's a tactical shooter is how I would describe it. Very large scale. But it has one major aspect that makes it different from games like COD World War II, Postscriptum, Hell Let Loose, or any of the Battlefield World War II games. And that is that you control a squad of AI and can freely select between each of the members of your squad so long as they're alive. A squad is made up of individual soldiers who each have names, perks, and kits that you'll manage on the main screen of the game. The classes, some of the classes that are included: troopers, assaulters, engineers, tankers, pilots, snipers, and a variety of other roles. I think there's also like radio operators and stuff like that. Each class has its own role in the squad, although a large bulk of your gameplay is going to be spent with troopers because they're just kind of the meat to be grinded against the enemy. That's just generally the role they serve. There are some vehicles in the game, including tanks and planes. You do have to have at least one armor division of some kind to enter a game. So it's not like you're ever going to get on a team that doesn't have access to tanks or access to, well, maybe access to planes, but every team is going to have access to tanks. And the game requires that you rotate through your squads as the game plays out, so you have a chance to play with all your squads, right? So if you start with your infantry squad and that gets wiped out, then you're gonna have to, it'll like make you go to your recon, which is like your sniper squad, or it'll make you go to your assaulter, or make you choose your armor division. Right. Was there anything you guys wanted to add there to the classes and how that works?
Yeah, Battle of Berlin is the other theater war that you can play in, and we'll talk more on that in a minute. But that has been a little controversial.
Okay. So there are 2 types of game modes. There's Conquest, where one side defends and the other attacks. And then there's Domination, where there are 3 objectives to take and hold, in pretty standard stuff. There's also there's other modes where it will be just individuals, not squads. So you spawn in as an individual, not like as a squad. But I haven't really gotten my hands on that. I like the base mode with the AI squads more than that other idea. Squads also share from their own pool of resources. Actually, hold on. I forgot to mention this. Each campaign acts as its own separate like ecosystem. So you'll have a set of ally squads and a set of Axis squads in each campaign that you'll need to manage and level up on their own. Like it's individual, right? So I have like a set of Axis squads in the Battle of Normandy, and those are separate from my Axis squads in any other campaign. And so you kind of start fresh going between the two, right? So if you spend a lot of time on Invasion of Normandy, and then you go to Battle of Moscow, it's fresh. It's like a whole like reset. Squads share from their own pool of resources, such as weapons, vehicles, and pieces of kit. So, kind of going back to this example of the Battle of Moscow, if you're working on an assaulter and want to put a basic SMG in their hands, you'll either need to purchase one using in-game cards or move it from one soldier to another. Right? So there's a logistics page where you can get weapons. Like you can like get weapon shipments, which will just like randomly like if it's a bronze one, it'll just randomly select a weapon that's available to you by level up or at your current level, or you can pay a silver for a specific weapon. So if you want the specific Mosin Nagant variant, if you want one with like a sniper scope, you'll use silver. And that's all in like a pool. So if you have two squads that have one sniper each, and you only have one sniper rifle, you have to either trade it between the two, or you have to get another sniper. You have to like basically purchase another sniper. Make sense? I feel like I made that convoluted, but I'm not sure.
Makes sense to me. I've also played it, so.
Yeah, that makes sense, but it also, it's confusing as hell whenever you first play the game. And I think that's one thing that they could have done a lot better job on is like their UI and kind of letting players know there's a lot of depth, right? With Enlisted, tons of depth behind that game. But yeah, if you play it, you understand. If you haven't, you get like, what is going on?
Yeah. It takes a little bit. Like I feel like I have a reasonable grasp on how the UI works now, but like those first couple streams, I'm like, the hell am I doing here? Like, why does my sniper, when I just ordered this new sniper, why does he not come with a proper rifle? I'm like, what the fuck? So it took me a little bit there.
Yeah, or you have to or the squad, like you have a sniper and you can't drag him into your squad. And you're like, what is going, like, I have him, I have the slot, like, what is going on? Like, oh, there's a skill tree for these, and like you have to unlock a sniper spot on your squad, like that is in addition to having an open spot like for an infantry, for someone to slide into. So it's weird. Like even if you have a free slot in your squad, if you don't have the sniper unlocked in a separate skill tree saying that sniper can be part of that squad, you can't put the sniper in the squad. If you have the sniper, there's like 3 different unlocks. It's super weird. At first.
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of go through. You unlock access to different weapons, soldiers, and vehicles through leveling up your faction on different campaigns. This is a pain point that I will discuss in just a bit. Right has the same look that I can do.
Yeah.
I will say,
Gaijin,
yeah. Gunplay feels reasonably responsive, though I do feel like sometimes there's a lot of server lag. And it's something I especially notice when throwing a grenade. Which I feel likely contributes to wonky hit registration. There are times where I swear to God, like I am within perfect range, I should be hitting my targets, and I'm not. Green has seen it on stream. Green's experienced it playing it with me. I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm like, I'm gonna chalk it up to server lag of some sort. Next is vehicles. They feel, and this is gonna sound weird, they feel realistically wonky and bulky. You easily get snagged on things, like all the time. If you're in a tank, you turn wide and slow. You can end up in pits, and you can end up stuck in trenches really easily.
You can't see shit in the tank.
Can't see
shit in the
shit.
tank.
And like as you're like trying to line up your fucking cannon and guns, like it takes a bit.
So slow, just like sit there lining it up, and like the crosshair will be off from where the actual like barrel will be. So like if your enemy's in the crosshair and you shoot and that barrel's not lined up yet, it will not hit. It will fucking go where the barrel's going.
So frustrating.
Yeah. Tanker crews have to occasionally leave the relative safety of the metal behemoths and repair things like tracks and guns, which is always terrifying. It's like, oh man, all I've got is a revolver. Guess I'm gonna brave the outside
now.
Yeah, I guess I'll go die. So one thing I will mention here when it comes to the vehicles that I do not understand is the proximity of tank rounds to enemies and the explosive AoE damage that doesn't kill them. Unless it's like a direct hit. There are several times in which I would miss a tank round by centimeters and not kill somebody. I'm like, but it's a high explosive tank round. I wasn't using armor piercing. I'm like, high explosive. How is that not killing somebody?
And then you don't know, right? You don't know if that's part of the game mechanic. You don't know if the ROE for that attack is just really low or just really shitty. You know, it needs to be adjusted, or you don't know if it's server on the server side of the house, right? So you're like, well, it's really confusing, yeah. And sometimes you notice the same thing with the aircraft rounds. You come in and you drop missiles. You're like, you see these ants down there and you fire, and it's like, well, there's the hit marker, but I didn't get a kill. And those are clearly blew up right next to that guy. But
yeah, I was just gonna get to planes, which take a lot of getting used to, and I'm really bad in them.
Oh, I love the planes. I love the planes, dude. I love them. Yeah, it's kind of addicting. I think someone said that in your chat. Teggy said that. It's the planes to me feel really good, but on the flip side of that, when you're playing mouse and keyboard, right? On the flip side of that, planes and Battlefield to me feel really bad mouse and keyboard, if that makes sense, you know? So maybe it's just these mechanics lined up with my mouse and keyboard sensitivity is better than other games.
I was gonna say, I'm really good in a jet in Battlefield 4. So I used to be. I should clarify. I used to be. So
I haven't crashed on accident nearly the amount of times that I have in GTA. GTA, I constantly crash. I do not understand how GTA 5 is the plane system is set up. Dogfights are a thing though, and I am a complete and utter bitch in the sky. I hear another plane, and I'm like, all right, time to kamikaze. I'm like,
because you can't parachute out of your plane and use the weapon that the game gives you. So why even buy weapons for your pilots? Because apparently it's not a thing. Even if you land, I landed a plane one time and it didn't blow up, but it was out of bounds. So I couldn't, and it wouldn't even let me out. And then I died. So it was I don't understand why pilots have these really awesome machine guns in the planes, but I can't use them.
Yeah. So, and maybe I'm just stupid, but I also noticed there's not really any proper aiming mechanisms for dropping bombs or firing rockets on ground targets. Unless I'm just an idiot. I didn't notice it. I didn't see anything that's if I want to make a bombing run and drop some bombs on some targets, I don't know where, I don't know necessarily where they're going. You know what I mean?
I've never unlocked. The bomber would be different. I think the missiles are really accurate, and where you aim your missiles go where you want them to go. But you have to have marks. That's the other thing about this game. If you're not playing with a team on a headset, in Discord, you're never gonna get marked targets. And so I don't know how people pilot solo. You know what I mean? I don't even know where they would see the marks. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one big thing with planes. And I will say, when it comes to marking targets, that's a huge thing. I actually had a guy come into my stream. The first time I played the game on stream, the guy was coming in and being a dick, acting like I wasn't marking targets. And I'm like, what are you seeing me doing here, my guy? I'm like, I have 6 targets marked on my fucking screen. He's like, you gotta be a good teammate. You gotta mark your targets. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, unless there's like a different mechanic for that, because right, you can pull up a map when you do the artillery, but I don't know if there's a way to pull up a map to mark targets for other squads too, right? Like outside of your squad.
Yeah. Okay, so you've said you've done artillery.
Yeah, I've used artillery once, maybe twice.
Yeah, because I haven't even gotten that unlocked yet.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. You pull open your map, and then you just put the crosshair where you want it on the map there, and then they just come firing in. Although there is a weird bug with the artillery, which is really weird. So I think I've done it twice, 2 or 3 times, because the first time there was a bug that would not let me. Once the map was open, it wouldn't let me close the map. So I opened the artillery map. Right, I'm in a little bunker or like a little shitty like wooden house, and like I'm right on top of the enemies. I pull out the artillery, like, and I'm like, there, it's right here. How do you fucking call this in? Like I'm trying to click the artillery, and then I just hear like tons of footsteps, like the enemy team, like screaming in German, like I'm on the American side, like storming the beach of Normandy. I'm like, fuck. How did you close the map? We got to defend ourselves. And then I couldn't close it, and then I just got wrecked, and it was a waste of an artillery unit. I thought that's great. And then someone in chat was like, oh yeah, there's a bug where sometimes when you open the map, certain places it doesn't let you close it. I was like, that's fucking fantastic.
Nice.
But aside from the bug, it's pretty straightforward. The artillery, kind of like Battlefield, I'd say, kind of a little bit like when you use the artillery on Battlefield 4.
Yeah, gotcha. So, that's about all I really wanted to mention for the gameplay elements. I think I covered most of the basics, like what most people are going to experience within their first couple hours of play. There are a variety of weapons in the game, but a lot of it is locked behind level up and such. And I kind of wanted to start getting into some of my pain points with the game. If you guys had anything you wanted to add prior to going to some of the pain points. No. So, like I said, the game was free to play. But this is going to sound weird, but I think most people are going to understand it as when I say it. But it's 2 free to play. And it lets you know that at every turn. You are hindered in level progress greatly unless you buy a battle pass. Like you grind a lot in order to get anything. In terms of different squads, in terms of vehicles, in terms of cards. I have only been playing free. I have not gotten the battle pass, and it is slow. Right, did you pay for the battle pass or get access to it in some way?
The battle pass I didn't, but I think because the battle pass is separate from premium, right? So I just paid for the premium for the month, I guess, to get like additional XP, and like I was just like, you get additional squads, I guess, or whatever, like units. But no, yeah, I didn't pay for the battle pass. No.
Yeah, so I am just free right now, and it is very slow going. You get stuck with the same weapons, same soldier roles, and kit for a lot of the time that you're spent playing. And so far from what I've experienced, and this is just from me, the game isn't in a good enough place where I would even want to spend money on it, on the Battle Pass or the premium membership. There's just too much jank, too many bugs, and too many things that need to be polished to make this game worth spending money on. At least in my opinion. Green, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just I thought with how convoluted like this when I started it was, I felt like there was a lot of monetization grabs, like spend this to get a squad, or buy this, you can get this weapon, but you had to pay for the gold or the silver to get this Mosin with a sniper scope on it and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't pay for a battle pass. Like I don't think I'd ever pay for a battle pass for this game, period. Just because I'm not huge into the period shooters. I prefer modern shooters, but still, it's not something that I feel like it's not good enough to where I want to spend money on it. Especially with it being, okay, free to play. I was getting by, but yeah, I don't think I'd pay for a battle pass now.
Yeah. So another main pain point that I have with this game is AI needs a lot of work. Um, the AI is really rough, doesn't take inputs well from the player. Um, they never seem to follow the player like super well. Like I have squads that will like that'll just get like super spread out. I don't know if like I'm moving too fast for it or what, but it seems to not like want to keep up with me that well. Um, and again, maybe I'm an idiot and I just didn't see this, but I can't seem to get them to direct their fire despite an enemy ping system existing in the game. Right? So I can mark enemies, I can mark an enemy and it'll show up on everyone's view. But I don't know if I can get my AI to direct their fire in a certain direction, right? So if I see somebody and want to focus fire on that person, I can't seem to do that. Right? Do you know if there's? Because I know you just have more experience in the game. I haven't seen it. Do you?
No, and the thing is, like, and that's what's frustrating about Enlisted is you can just send your guys basically, right? You can hit X. I think it's X on the keyboard,
Yeah.
whatever my default is. You hit X and you say attack this point, or you hit X and you say defend this point. Like I can't even fucking like tell them to go move to a point, and then you can't even give them like an area of fire. And so, I mean, I think the AI generally though, when they're on a point or when you're running with them, they'll generally fire back. And so, like a lot of times, the AI will give me an indicator where like player enemies are because we'll just be running through the woods and then they just fucking stop and stand still, like like a robot, and then they just fire. And so at least it gives me the direction of fire. But yeah, like you really can't tell them, to watch this way or go that way or attack, which to me it would make sense if you could send them to a point. And then the other thing that's frustrating is that if you want to send them, right, so if you want to send your squad to a building that's adjacent from the objective, and then you want to flank behind the objective and you want to have your squad draw that fire and you come up behind somebody, you can't do it, because then as you start moving behind and you want to do a long, like a wide flank or hell even a short flank, sometimes it says, too far away from your squad. And so that's really frustrating too.
Yeah, and then someone also in solo just mentioned, not to mention ladders and vaulting, which holy fuck are terrible.
Yeah, yeah, like that. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing too. Like, good luck getting your squad mates to do stuff. And so I do like the idea of the squads. I think it makes the battle way bigger because at any given time, what is it, 12 on 12 plus each member, each player can have up to 7 squad members if they unlock them all, right? Like, or unlock the max number of members in a squad. So theoretically, you can have 12 on 12 and each player controlling 6 other AI, right? So it's a huge battle. A lot of people will have maybe squads of 3 or 4 at first, right? But I like the scale of it and I like the idea of it. I think that's cool. And it does make it feel a little more immersive, a little more chaotic, a little, you know what I mean? Like it gives you that feel. But yeah, that's the issue that you run into with introducing AI to games like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So some final thoughts on the game. The game is incredibly accessible. It runs on a wide variety of machines and is available on Xbox and PlayStation, and is crossplay. Being free is good. Being too free is bad. Again, it lets you know that it's free every chance it gets and tries to get you into that sales funnel. And it is designed I believe intentionally, because this is a gaijin game. It's designed intentionally to get you into that funnel and get you to pay for those extra things. So go into this game with that in mind. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I've been enjoying the game. It's become a regular part of my rotation. It's easy to play. It seems that there is a community growing for it. I see this one having some longevity, and it's just a good one to check out for sure. It's available on its own launcher, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass, because who wants to have another launcher on their PC? But sometimes we just got to deal with it. I don't really have much else on my final thoughts, but I'll kind of go around the horn here. Green, any other final thoughts you wanted to share?
I would just say the AI system, like I modestly, I would say I'm an average to slightly above average FPS player. So when I first went in there, it was almost easy, like getting high kill count bombs, and I 100% attribute that to the AI system. Most of the time, I would just have my squad sit back behind a wall or cover if I could find any, and then just start planking AIs until I get to the final guy. So yeah, it's the AI system does need a lot of work. I mean, it was fun when I played it. I would definitely play it again when I'm in the mood for it. But I'm hoping to see, hoping to see a few changes coming in the future for it.
Yeah, Riot.
Yeah, I think for people out there listening too, or maybe sitting on the fence, are like, oh my God, Danny, sure, man, this game, and you're like, oh, but it's fun. I play it. Like, I will say one thing about Enlisted is that immediately, and I don't know how long the gameplay loop will last because of how grindy it is for me personally. And I honestly get tired of games I would never ever be like a one game streamer, despite the joke in my community that I main Tarkov, which which I just played Tarkov for like 2 months and then I mained it, right? Because I can never play a game very long. But I think it's beautiful. I love the map design. I think the map design is awesome. I think it's fucking gorgeous. I love like the fog of war. They incorporate the fog of war so fucking well. I love it feels immersive when you're in there and you're kind of looking as like depending on the maps when you're playing through like a swamp area or when you're running through rubble in the buildings or you're in the woods and it just has a really I think big kudos to the environmental design team, the graphic design guys. Like it looks really cool. I think it's a really pretty game as far as the environment goes. And it's a fun shoot. I mean, it feels good to get kills, and I like the airplane. So I think for free, I think that's especially these days too. I know a lot of people have been in more of a financial bind than they have been for some people because of everything going on the last year. And so if you're just looking for a game to play, it's free. I don't know. I think Enlisted is worth it. I've had some of my very best streams playing Enlisted. We grew our community probably by 20% just playing Enlisted, and had some of the highest view counts ever playing that game. And those guys are returning for streams like for Caliber and you know what I mean for like Battlefield or what other games we're playing. And so I don't know. Overall, Enlisted has been a really good experience for me, despite its flaws. I mean, and it's free, so
Yeah. I know I focus a lot on the flaws there, and didn't want to make it sound like it's not worth it, but it is, and it's just important that people know about the flaws. I think before going into it. So moving on from this first-person shooter, let's go on ahead and talk about a new third-person shooter that's on the market. That right, you've gotten your hands on. Let's talk about Caliber.
Ooh, Calibra. Do you even Calibra? There's like God, the commercial. So they had like this voice actor for Calibra, and it's like Calibra is a third person tactical. It was like, I don't know, man. It was like Jean-Claude Van Damme and fucking like, I don't know, like Sylvester Stallone like had like a fucking weird cousin or something. I don't know, but like, do you even Calibra? Anyway, but I grew up on third person shooters. That's where I was raised at in the fields of SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs. The streets of Desert Glory, the fields of Fox Hunt, the snow of Frostfire, like all those maps, like SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2, so even SOCOM 3 to me are such classic games. And I've always looked and I've always wanted a third person shooter that would even come close to those. And I've spent hundreds of dollars backing games on Kickstarter that ended up just being a fucking disaster. And even the creative director for SOCOM 2 got involved in a project called H-Hour years ago, and I spent a lot of money backing that. And then he left because like the guy who owned the company was a dick. Obviously that's all conjecture. That's hearsay. We don't obviously know beyond reasonable doubt what happened. Whatever, but that's the story behind it. And so anytime I get a chance to play a third-person shooter, I jump on it because I love third-person shooters. Some people argue that third-person shooters are not as immersive, but I think that's bullshit because I think third-person shooters are even more immersive because you're like looking in, right? Yeah, you don't see your hands. It's not through your eyes, but like to be able to see your character model and to be able to, and I love like the whole like around corners. A lot of people that are not fans of third-person shooters, that's like the one thing they complain about is like, oh, you can third person peek. Yeah, well, no shit, everybody can fucking third person. It's a third person shooter. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just get so angry. Like, oh, you can third person. Well, no fucking shit, you can third person peek. It's a what? Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But like, anyway, Caliber Caliber to me has been a lot of fun. Every operator is unique. So there's not one operator. There's not two alike operators. It is a little weird at first because you're like, oh, I can play as an Navy SEAL and have a really cool M4 A1 loadout. Well, no, because only one character in the SEAL team is going to have an M4, right? And another character might have the SCAR, or another character might have the HK-16. And so every operator was built unique and to have its own weapon set that you can't get anywhere else. So that's kind of a little bit to wrap your head around first. You're like, I was like, I wish I could do that. But it's built that way. There are tons of special. So there's a lot of squads that you can choose from like Russian, like the Spetsnaz, to like the Israeli Special Forces, to the U.S. Navy SEALs, to like British Special Forces. You even have like the Polish Special Forces. So it's really cool. And the attention to detail, you're playing it on your screen right now, which is cool. Like if you look, I mean, just graphically, it's a really pretty game. The attention to detail and the characters are really fun. And what's cool about Caliber is it is free to play. But you have PvP, PvE, and you have a mixed game mode, which is PvPvE, and you can take the lead fighting other players and aggressive AI opponents. So it's a game mode called Frontline, and some people say that's their most fun game mode. But like you're fighting a team, and then you have like these AI opponents that are also fighting you, which I think is really cool. And then you have each squad is composed of 4 members, and each member has a specific set of like what they do. So you have an assaulter, which are your most mobile members of the team. They can quickly eliminate enemies in dangerous situations, and they can flank really easy because they're really fast. And like the assault guys have a lot of stamina. Your medics, they can heal people and bring them back. They have multiple revives, whereas other people on the team only has 1 syringe, so they can only pick up 1 teammate. But a medic may have like 5 or 6 syringes, right? And so they heal the wounded. They're lightly armed, so they don't have like the best weapons. They can hold their own a little bit, but they're really key to like the mission and round success. And then the marksman obviously eliminates enemies from a distance, and they're the most self-sufficient operator in the squad. And they anywhere from like really fast rate of fire marksman rifles, that are really like DMRs, all the way up to like a 50 cal. You know what I mean? So like each marksman is a little different how you want to play them. And then you have your support, which are they're very heavily armored and they're sturdy, and they're the guys running around with the 249 the 249s and the 240 Bravos, and some of those, the LMGs is obviously what the assault does, and they clear lanes for people. And lay down suppressing fire, and bullets are relatively deadly. I mean, I think the time to kill could be a little lower, but I'm used to playing games like 0 Hour, or games like Enlisted. 1 bullet will kill you. You know what I mean? So I'm used to these like 1 shot, 1 kill type games. But it works for this game. It is obviously there's a lot of monetization in this game, which is like the biggest complaint that people are having. Well, there's 2 big complaints. We can get into that in a minute, but yeah, that's what Caliber is in a nutshell. Sorry, it's kind of a long description, but it's a 3rd-person shooter it's special force squads pitted against other special force squads, and there's different game modes and different maps. So there's like a bomb defusal mode, or like where you go and you hack into a system, which is each team. One team protects 2 hack points, and the other team has to go hack one of the points. And the other game mode is your standard. It's kind of like either elimination or you cap the other team's base, which is the back of the map. So that's Caliber in a nutshell.
Yeah. So this is a game. By the way, the game footage that I showed on the screen was from Big Fry, who is a buddy of yours, Riot. And I had kind of seen this game. I had learned about this game from him on his channel, and then kind of seen it disappear for a while. I think I even asked at one point, like, what happened to that game that Big Fry showed off on his channel like a year ago. I never heard anything about it. I'm assuming a lot of the time was development time. The state that it's in right now, would you say it's in like an early access, or would you say it's like in a beta, or like almost ready for release?
So the game, I think the devs say that it's God, did they say it's an alpha? I think the devs are calling it alpha, but like Russian developers call everything an alpha. like Escape from Tarkov has been an alpha for like years. You know, I would say it's more like in a beta state, like early access. I think they've got to what they have to fix before it goes out. I think the big challenges they're going to face is they've got to fix the server latency. There's a lot of latency issue. Your ping is okay, but the latency, even on they just introduced North American servers like 2 weeks ago. But the latency on the servers is so fucking terrible. You're looking like 500 latency on some of this stuff. And then the other thing is with going like kind of hand in hand with that is they've got to get a North American player base if they want the game to survive in North America. Because right now you have to go play on the Russian servers to get into a game. If not, even with a 4-man squad, the queues take 5 to 10 minutes. And it used to be with a 4-man squad on North America servers when it first launched 2 weeks ago, you could get into a game relatively quick in maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Well, now less people are playing on North America, or more people are going to the Russian servers because there's just so many more players, right? The game's primary player base is in Russia. I mean, and it's people have been playing it in Russia for 2 years, right? This game was very, very early, and even Fry didn't find out about it until after the game had been around for a little bit. So that's the issue. I think it's going to be like to market it in North America and get North American players, but they got to fix the servers for that. And they really got to push out the marketing to get like a North American player base. But the other issue is the operators are so damn expensive. So just to unlock one operator, depending on what it is, I mean, that it can be $20 to unlock an operator. Or $15. I think it's around $15 for some. Some are a little more expensive. Some are, but that's a lot of money. And especially taking into consideration like everything else. That
Real quick, can you go back and say what you were about to say? I kind of froze up there for a second.
About the servers or the monetization.
You were talking about the monetization. You were talking about how expensive the operators were. And then you cut out for a second.
They're like $15 or $20. So I mean, some I think you can get for maybe like $12, but they're looking like $15. So I was like, if I want to unlock, and there's a shit ton of operators in the game, and if you want to grind, you can grind for in-game currency to unlock them, which is fine. It costs about like 45,000 credits to unlock an operator. Some cost 20,000 credits, some like 35. But if you want a really good operator, like the best, like the tier 1 guys, like. And they're all pretty balanced for the most part. But if you want a Navy SEAL, it's 45,000 credits, and it takes a long time to grind that. Or you can buy coins, which cost real money, and you can convert coins into credits and buy the operator. Or some operators are just locked behind a paywall. Like, oh, this operator costs 3,500 coins. That's like 15 or $20. And the only way to get that operator is to buy them through coins, which sucks. Or you have to wait till the devs every week they rotate operators out. So like, I don't know how many I'll look and see how many there are, but there's a lot of operators in this game. And like every week they rotate out 3. So they're like, oh, now you can unlock these 3 operators with in-game currency. Like, you know what I mean? But next week they'll be locked behind a paywall. And so it's like really frustrating, and it's super expensive because obviously too, like the dollar is worth a lot more than the ruble. And so like, I don't even know, like that's a lot of money. Like if there's that many operators, you're paying $15-$20 to unlock it. I don't even think some of these AAA games are spending that much to, I mean, I guess Call of Duty, you can unlock like a skin pack, and those are like what, $15 to $20, but it's a AAA title, right? And you get like a shit ton, you get a whole new skin, plus you get like other cosmetic items, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
it's $20, usually $20 a pop, but you also get the character skin, and usually they come with bundles with like weapon skins too.
yeah, exactly. So like this, it's like you spend $20 and then you just get the operator, and then you got to spend another, it's $40 to unlock the it's what is it called? They call it like a legendary skin. So if you want the legendary Navy SEAL skins, it costs $40 to unlock all 4 of them. So get this, Big Fry gifted me the Navy SEAL operator skin pack, and he thought he gifted me the operators. So it cost him $40, and you can send gifts to people on which is cool. But like, so he gifted it to me. He's like, that's awesome. I was like, oh shit, I got the Navy SEALs. This is so badass. Thanks, man. And then come to find out, it was like, nope, you actually still have to pay for each individual Navy SEAL, and then you can equip that legendary skin that Big Fry gifted you. So it's fucking insane, bro. Like, and I think one of their things was like, oh, we're a really small indie studio and we want to sustain ourselves without going to a publisher and be, we don't want to be beholden to some publisher devil, you know what I mean? And sell our souls. So we want to financially back everything ourselves. Well, shit, dude, like you're not going to have North American player base. One, because you're not marketing it, and because your servers are fucked in North America, and you're definitely not going to having them spend $20 American for each. You know what I mean? It's just, so I think their prices have to be really adjusted. But that's the nature of a free game, right? And that's the drawback with these free to play titles.
Yeah, it's almost like mobile game style, like cash grab.
Yeah, and it's the financial model, like someone said in chat, like I said it, like and Big Fry said it, and Abel Green has said, like Abel Green and Big Fry and like Prime Thor, those 3 dudes to me are like some of the faces of Caliber, right? Like those guys, like Fry, Abel, Prime Thor, those dudes are all on Caliber. They're putting out content for Caliber, and like, man, all of them, everybody, I think at least in the North American community can agree, is like, it's just bullshit, man. Like it's insane. Like that model is going to kill the fucking game if they don't kill it themselves by not marketing. And that's the issue with these indie games, because I think Caliber has so much potential. And I got accepted into the Caliber partner program, but then they wanted me to sign an NDA and tell them where I lived, and they wanted my address. And I was like, no, fuck that. And they were like, by the way, this NDA is going to be governed by the laws of Cyprus. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know. I it's hard enough for me to know my own laws here in fucking United States. Like, I'm not like going to be liable to some Cyprus court, but like, anyway. And they were like, oh, we really are sorry. We really wish you would reconsider. Like, we hate that you. And I was like, well, let me do partner stuff, but like, don't give me access to shit that's like confidential, But anyway, I digress. It's kind of just about, but they're in talks with their partners. It looks like, I mean, the devs seem like, I hope they really seem like they're listening. At least they're liking all the tweets, even like the negative feedback people are giving them. Like I think they're really taking it to heart, and we'll see, because I think, and this is what I told them. This is where I was going with that. When I applied for the partner program, and when I was talking to whoever their, I don't know, community manager, or whoever their, I don't know, legal team, whoever's wanting me to sign my life away on this NDA, right? Like whoever, I said, look, and I told the devs too, like, this game has so much potential. The third person tactical shooter market really like doesn't exist. I mean, you had Ghost Recon a while back. Like Ghost Recon Wildlands, in my opinion, was trash. And then like and then they had Breakpoint, which was just like an expansion of Wildlands. It wasn't even like Ubisoft. Like I think Tom Clancy, like God rest his soul, and fucking like he would turn in his grave if they've seen what they did to the Tom Clancy games. Like the old Tom Clancy games that we used to play growing up are not even close to the same. And so I think you have this market, especially in North America, of like this untapped potential for third person tactical games that are round based and that have a learning curve, that require you to be a thinking man shooter. And like, it's really non-existent. Like, what are you going to play? Like, you don't really have, like, there's no third. What are you going to play? Like, and so I think Caliber could really fill that void, but not with this price model, and not with their servers currently in NA. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
So let me ask you a quick question, because there is another third-person shooter on the market, although I wouldn't describe it as necessarily tactical, and that would be, it's on Epic. It's is it Rogue Heist?
Rogue Company.
Rogue Company. Yes, I played Rogue Company.
I was thinking about Rogue Company the whole time.
I enjoy Rogue Company. Yeah, I did for a little bit.
So obviously, the two games have completely different art styles, play styles, and whatever else. But I mean, as a third-person shooter, it's hard for me not to just think about that. They're both free to play and would be essentially going for the same audience. And there's some similarities, like you're mentioning that there's different operators. And Rogue Company is set up the same way, where it has different operators, characters, whatever. Where building a team and synergizing with other team members is incredibly important. I mean, do you see them having like a large cross segment at all in terms of audience, or not at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually see that. Abel Green is a big third person fan. So is Big Fry, and even Abel to this day. I mean, Abel is a Rogue Company partner, and so any third person shooter, like these guys that grew up on third person shooters, and I might age myself a little bit, but like people that grew up on like these SOCOM games, like the third person tag, like that was it, right? It was SOCOM on Sony, and you played Xbox, you played Halo, right? Those were the two, SOCOM and Halo, and so people that enjoy those third person games or play like Arma in third person, right, is like an example. But I think people are playing Rogue Company that love those tactical shooters because that's it. Like there's really Rogue Company. You can play Ghost Recon, but I think a lot of the tactical shooter fans are turned off by it, like how Ghost Recon end up panning out, right? Especially with like Breakpoint, and hell, even with Wildlands. And so I think I think those guys, I don't know, those guys are necessarily playing Rogue Company. Maybe they're just strictly sticking to like the Ghost Recon series. But yeah, I think there's a huge market to those viewers would cross over and play something like Caliber. I don't know if it would be like a majority of them, but I think a good amount of them, especially if Caliber does the marketing correctly and has a really good presence in NA. Like I think it could definitely kind of coexist in that same world and have the same kind of player base.
Cool. Real quick, I want to get the system requirements out of the way, and then we can go on ahead and take a quick break. System requirements for Caliber, if you are interested in playing, is you need a Windows 7 or newer 64-bit operating system, an CPU i3 or better, 6 gigs of RAM, 1 gig of VRAM. They recommend an NVIDIA GeForce GT 9800 or better, or an AMD HD 5500 or better GPU. They also ask that you have 40 gigs of space on your hard drive, which seems pretty hefty from what I saw, but it is what it is. Anything else on Caliber before we take a break?
If people like third-person shooters, give it a try. I think people will enjoy it. You don't have many other games to try, so I think all of our third-person guys, we're all just bouncing to each new third-person game when it comes out.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be back in 2 minutes. Be right back.
Are you a coffee lover? Do you need a little pep in your step in the morning? What about knowing where your coffee comes from? Is that important? Well, try Grampian Roast Coffee on Etsy. That's Grampian, Grampian, and see our selection of single origin and blended coffees. Use code REVSVEN, REVSVEN, at checkout to save 15% off of your purchase.
And welcome back to the show, guys. Thank you guys for letting us take that
Hi.
break. Hi.
How are you? You doing all right? You doing good?
Good, yeah.
Cool.
I thought I adjusted my lighting. I look a little pasty, but then I turned out the light, and then I think I looked worse. So I don't have my filter on. I'm not on Twitch. I don't have my filters. I'm just trying to avoid the skin, or the sun.
Yeah, so I have this ring light here that lets me like change the color temperature, and I was trying to decide like which one worked the best, and I'm like, this one.
That's kind of cool.
It doesn't make me look like a fucking vampire.
That's fair. Well, you're just really protecting your skin from the sun and from skin cancer. So,
Yeah, exactly.
No one wants basal cell carcinoma.
So, you know what is apparently coming back from the dead? Google Stadia.
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was over. Yeah, that was, yeah.
Evidently not. Evidently, Google Stadia is alive and well. So Google Stadia has been in the news a lot since its inception and its launch, but very rarely for any good reasons. And it has led to very poor public perception from the vast majority of outlets and gamers, to no one's surprise. But in an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, Stadia's Nate Aaron, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Ahearn. I believe it's Aaron.
Heron?
Iran.
Iran.
I just made that up.
He is the developer marketing lead, and has said the platform is, quote, alive and well. Quote, or well.
I think he's paid to say
that. He might be. Take it with a grain of salt. Quote, we're well on our way to over 100 new games launching on Stadia in 2021, and we're continuing to make Stadia a great place for to play games on devices you already own. I would tell any non-believers to take notice of how we're continuing to put our words into action as we grow the Stadia Makers program and partner with AAA studios like Capcom, EA, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and others. He also stated that Google was, quote, focused on delivering value for our partners and on behalf of our players. So that's all well and good. He can make a bunch of corporate talking points. Really, to me, the question is content is king. Is Stadia currently really working that hard? Stadia really currently is lacking any major content that would put it on the map for anyone to check out, at least in my opinion. So, someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. And with game developer talent leaving Stadia in droves, like Jade Raymond and the mass exodus that she caused, there's a lot of new focus on the Stadia Makers program, which has a lot of indie devs, and it seems that Nate understands that thought process, that content is king. And he had this to say, quote, we're not shifting pressure onto independent studios we work with in Stadia Makers. The whole point of the program is to support their addition to Stadia as a launch platform for their games, not to add any pressure to make anything harder for them. He also added that an important distinction about Stadia Makers to highlight is that by design, we don't expect any studios to exclusively publish their games on Stadia. Rather, the program is designed to support studios in bringing their Unity-based games to launch on Stadia in addition to other platforms. So their attempt right now really is to just keep putting content on Stadia for people to play. But, and I know we talked about it last week, in terms of the Apple Arcade, they haven't actually created anything that is a seller, right? There isn't the, to kind of go back to Riot's example during the Caliber conversation, there isn't a Halo, Xbox's Halo for Stadia. There's just nothing good enough there that makes people want to get onto Stadia. Like, I have to play this game, and the only way I'm going to play it is through Stadia. It hasn't happened yet. And I don't know if it will. There's a lot more to the interview where he compares the adoption to cloud gaming to that of VR, which I agree there are similarities. And cloud gaming is still very much in its infancy. There wasn't a lot of support for VR right away. And everyone was coming out with their own VR systems So, we're kind of in this early adopters phase. But I think one thing I wanted to mention, and I think the biggest takeaway from this interview, is that it doesn't look like Stadia is pulling the plug on it, or Google is not pulling the plug on Stadia yet. At least that's not what this interview indicates. If that is the case, this interview was way off mark. Like, that's giving false hope to a lot of people on. I say a lot of people, and by a lot of people I mean probably 10 people who are actually using Stadia to game.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of like just grasping at like the top of the hole that they're in. Like, we're doing fine, just trying to climb themselves out.
Yeah.
Like, come by,
Yeah,
Stadia.
And
It's
maybe
okay.
Google should just stick to spying on people and not making games. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like when the two of the biggest gaming, or not gaming, two of the biggest tech companies, being Amazon and Google, decided that they wanted to get into the gaming business, seems like they just like fell flat on their face.
Well, I think at least Amazon has the Lumberyard engine, right? Isn't that what Star Citizen is running on? I might be mistaken, but my understanding was that Star Citizen was running on Amazon's Lumberyard. Is that right?
I have no idea.
Well, if that's the case, it's a gorgeous engine. At least they have that. I would say Amazon had, what was it, New World, correct? That was an Amazon one.
Yep, that's an Amazon one.
So I decided to step on a fucking landmine earlier this week with their monetization stuff. But
yeah, well, and then I was also thinking about Crucible and how they had to unrelease it like a week after release.
Like, who does that? Like,
Hey,
at least they unreleased it. Like, at least it's not like these shitty early access games on Steam. Like, maybe we'll get a couple more bites. They were just like, this shit's terrible. Like,
I would say it hit about a month.
Was it a month?
It was about a month, and then they kept the servers up for like a going away party thing.
I don't know. We
Yeah,
could probably get a timeline if anyone wants to go and find that old episode. It's probably been about a year now since we talked about Crucible.
That game was rough too.
It was rough. We we did not give that game a favorable review. So so my take. Go ahead.
Well, so I would say, like, what is the reason? What is the reason to play on Stadia? Is there a compelling argument as to why I should play on Stadia versus Steam? Like, what, I don't more fucking hard drives in my computer. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but like, what? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what their selling point is.
Niche. It's very like, I understand what they're trying to do. It's supposed to be more for like a mobility kind of thing, accessibility kind of thing, where like you say you already have like the Google Chromecast, or everyone has a cell phone now. I think the best case scenario for using Stadia would be someone who doesn't have the money up front to like afford a PlayStation or Xbox or PC, but still wants to game, like let's say a college student, and can afford like paying the monthly subscription for it. That's when I could see like Stadia. But that's a very tight niche.
Yeah,
because anyone can afford, like you can save up and buy a PS4 right now, or Xbox, because people are going to be selling them to pick up the PS5s and Xbox Series X. So I mean, it's a really very tight niche.
Well, the problem with that, I think, too, is that the games that they're trying to show off on Stadia, right? Like I think I had someone at work. I know someone at work that has Stadia, and they're like, yeah, but I can play Valhalla on my phone at 4K at 60 frames, and like, okay, but like the game, like, yeah, is that cool in its own right? Sure, but like, no one wants to play. I don't want to play Valhalla on a 6-inch screen and not have any, like, that's great. And now I have to, half the fucking screen is covered by the buttons for the game. And so I think like the market they're going after, like if you're gonna say like all these AAA titles, you're trying to bring them over to Stadia and like, oh, it's 4K, it's 60 frames. Like, yeah, but if you're gonna, why wouldn't you play those games? People are gonna play that on a TV, right? That their console's hooked up to, or they're gonna play that on a 27-inch 4K monitor. You know what I mean? So like, it's so niche that I think even what it's targeting is like the people that would even play those type of titles. They don't want to play it like sitting on the toilet. You know what I mean? Like you have a fucking Wii for that. You know what I mean? Or a Switch. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You know what I think Stadia really needs though is they need their blockbuster game. They need their Halo. They need their Horizon Zero Dawn. They need something that is exclusive and just must be played. And the only way to play it is through Stadia. If they came up with a game that was fucking fantastic and like there's like no graphical limitations on this, right? We're not limited on the PlayStation or Xbox software. It's going to be a gorgeous game. You can only play it on Stadia. Then I would consider like buying into Stadia if the game was good. But they haven't done that yet, and they continue not to do it. And really, with the Makers program, they're not restricting any of the indie devs to be like, yeah, you can only be on Stadia. There's just nothing there, and that's what Stadia needs.
well then,
Green,
you're muted.
The biggest issue I have with that though is the input lag. Like,
How
can you justify having one of these like big titles, on just Stadia and like still have it playable? Like, I mean, what are they going to pick up? Plants vs Zombies? Like, just buy the EP for Plant vs Zombies, and like, there's no way that there's going to a Halo-esque or an FPS multiplayer game that is going to feasibly work on Stadia, because like even on GeForce Now, I think it's a better service because you can log into your previously owned games, but the input lag is still there. Like, you're always going to have input lags going from a stream service to your PC back to the stream service. It's a lot of connection. Games like that is, I don't know.
Then you have to find a developer that's willing to create like a single player experience, and that's gonna pull a gem out, out of a fucking cave, right? Because like not only do you have to find someone who's willing to do that, but then it has to be a success. And what developer is gonna stake that? You say you would have to pay them a shit ton of money, but even then, it's such a gamble for the studio, and it's such a gamble for Stadia. And then and if a studio knows they have like a fire game on their hand, like they know they have a title that's going to slap, they're not fucking going to Stadia. Like, why would they limit their audience too? Like, they could make whatever Stadia is paying them, they could probably make way more. And like, really, like, this is like, I'm just conjecture, but like, I think it's fair to say, and that's reasonably likely, that they would be able to make way more money going to PlayStation, Steam, and Xbox with a game that's going to slap than even if Stadia pays them a shit ton of money to exclusively release it on their platform, right? Like, and as a developer, like, they're usually gamers, and I think we're kind of seeing this shift to where the devs are starting to be like more gamer friendly now. Like, oh yeah, I guess we do create games because we used to be gamers and not because we want to buy 4 houses in Beverly Hills, right? Like, I think we're starting to see that shift back, especially on that AAA level, right? And so like, why would they even alienate all the other players out there? You know what I mean? I just think that for Stadia to work the scenario that you guys have described, that would be hard enough in itself. But like, that scenario to even happen would be hard enough. But I don't even think it's not even there. Yeah, you can't even make that scenario happen.
Well, and to your point, Google went into this project thinking they were going to be able to do it, haven't done it, and now they've lost a bunch of creative leads, right? They sniped Jade Raymond, from wherever she was working at. I don't even really know her pedigree that well. But I do know that she was like a very high valued talent in the game dev industry, and she just left, like created her own studio and is doing something else. And I think a bunch of people went with her. And so now that's even less feasible for Google. But I mean, to me, that's what they have to do. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Again, they're not pulling the plug. I don't have faith in Stadia still. I think there's been a lot of missteps since its launch. I think they've missed a lot of opportunities for how they could use this technology that I have outlined several times in the past. And yeah, that's just it. I mean, there's just not a lot here that makes it worth trying out and risking my money on that service.
But it's alive and well. So
but it's alive and well.
And if you Google Stadia reviews, if you Google the Google Stadia reviews, I'm sure you're going to find some favorable stuff at the very top of the search engine. I mean, probably because it's a great product, has nothing to do with Google owning the search engine.
Google owning the world.
Yeah.
So on from Google Stadia being alive and well to the FTC possibly bringing back to life Right to Repair. I don't know. I was trying to come up with a good segue and I lost it. I'm sorry.
I just thought about Eminem when you said that. Like, the FCC won't let me be. To me, it was worth it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. This is the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah.
I got you. So several weeks ago, we highlighted the efforts of Louis Rossmann to get Right to Repair bills onto ballots in New York. But he's not the only one who might be putting regulations on the books, as the FTC is signaling that they might be ready to crack down on restrictions that consumer goods companies place on their products that hinder a customer's access to independent repair. The FTC sent a 56-page report to Congress last Tuesday, which made several statements regarding the extremely common practices in consumer and professional goods and products. Congress had ordered the report previously due to Right to Repair advocates and consumer feedback. And there is some interesting statements here, to say the least. Quote, there is scant evidence to support the manufacturer's justifications for repair restrictions, is one very telling quote, and that the FTC is contemplating, quote, reinvigorating regulatory and law enforcement options as well as consumer education to address the issue. I feel like we kind of put the cart before the horse. Anyone who's just joining us on the Right to Repair discussion, it is Right to Repair is the idea that you, the product owner, have the right to independent repair. You have the right to get access to manuals and parts to repair your products, or to have a third party, not the manufacturer, be able to repair your products. Right to Repair is usually hindered by manufacturers to, we'll say, encourage consumers to buy new products after their old ones break or are considered, quote, obsolete. It's also, when you go to independent parties, it's better for your local economy. It's also better for your wallets because they're generally cheaper than the manufacturers. There's also environmental concerns that go along with the cycle of having to buy new products every time something breaks. So another very interesting thing was that the FTC had also said that there is current antitrust laws that could make certain repair restrictions illegal. Green, we're going to have to make a new bingo card for every time that we mention antitrust laws.
Antitrust equals anti-fun.
Take a shot every time we say antitrust on the show. Jesus. They also said that manufacturers have provided no data to support the claim that independent repairs have led to consumer injury or harm. So this particular part here is actually really interesting because this is something that you see a lot in the mechanical space, in terms of automobiles or other engineered products like boats or motors. John Deere is another good example of this, where they will claim that you need to take it to a certified mechanic to repair the item, usually one that's associated with them or that pays fees to them or is otherwise is the manufacturer, because independent repair from someone who is not certified by the manufacturer could lead to injury or death. Like, oh yeah, you take it to this otherwise reputable mechanic and your car engine is going to blow up and you're going to die in it. It's something that manufacturers have tried to claim for a long time now. But the FTC has said that manufacturers of several industries have said that you guys can't back that up. Where's the data? Where is the study? show us the data, which I think is hilarious that they can't even back up their own claims with any sort of statistics at all. Yeah, the report, it's 56 pages. It outlined a lot of things. You can find it publicly. It seems to indicate that overall the FTC will begin to monitor and regulate repair and warranty policies more closely, which will be a major win for a lot of advocates in the right to repair movement. Although if I had to place my money on anything, they're probably not done. This is probably not a complete and total victory for them, and they're going to continue to push for ballot access on right to repair bills, more than likely. But let's go around the horn real quick. Riot, what are your thoughts?
Man, that's like a lot to take in. Like, I'm like really considering all this, and I saw the article. Well, it's like, to me, it's like a mixed bag, right? Because anytime you have any government agencies like the FTC like wanting to introduce stuff, right? When you introduce these bills into law, like it adds, like, it can add unnecessary, cumbersome, and burden. It's a huge burden on these companies, right? To say, now they have to print more manuals, and they have to make manuals available to everybody, and they have to do this and they have to do that. And so then they say, well, now, like, because of these government regulations now and making us provide all this extra stuff, and providing all of our customers with this right to repair this, like, equipment, like, now our engines are going to be $3,000 more because now we have to, whatever, like, make them extra safe for idiots to use, like, if they want to repair their engine, instead of, like, and then I think you get into, like, trade secrets. And so it's like a mix, right? Because it's like, it seems like a cool thing. Like, oh yeah, people can repair their own shit. Like, that's cool. And it doesn't void the warranty. But then I don't know. Like, I think you have to be really careful about government regulating company. I think it's good to have some type of regulation, but we've seen it time and time again, like, government regulation in any type of thing, and a lot of these laws, it's very bureaucratic, and you have all these lobbyists, and these politicians are really beholden to some of these lobbyists, and who's paying their money, and who's buying their fucking dinner on Tuesday opposed to who's buying it on Friday. I don't know, but it's a mix. Like, it seems like a good idea. I'm just always very hesitant of like more government intervention on certain things. And, like, because these companies are so powerful and so big, like, is it really going to be what's supposed to be good for the consumer ends up being anti-consumer, because now prices are up, $5,000 on a new F-250 that you want to buy. And, like, well, fuck, what happened? Well, now we got to provide manuals to people. And, like, what percent of people are right to repair? Like, is this a very teeny percent of the population? Is this an overwhelming majority of the population? Right. So to consider, so if it's 3% of people that want to repair their shit, and like 80% of people, or well, 3%, you say 97% of people, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. But you have these 3%, like, now prices are increased because of these 3%. I don't know. So I just mix. It's weird. It's like it's a big issue. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would rather have again, a lot of people would probably have to go back and listen to our episode where we talked about the Louis Rossmann ballot access. That's something I would rather see. I agree that I don't want to necessarily see executive branch organizations like the FTC, FCC, EPA handle things like the way that they do, because it's usually a heavy-handed and not nearly as free as the ballot access laws that are proposed by citizens and approved by citizens. But to your point, or your question about how many people would support right to repair bills, I would probably say the overwhelming majority of people would, mostly based on people's experiences trying to get products repaired. You crack your phone screen, and depending on where you live, like, for me, very specifically, I can tell you, I know of like maybe one or two phone repair shops. I don't even know if they're both open anymore. But I have an iPhone. If I want to get my phone repaired, and it's not an Apple authorized retailer, which has to pay Apple or has to send it to Apple, right? That increases the cost for me automatically. And the nearest Apple store for me is 2 hours away, Right. So just from my phone experience, like if I have to like get a screen repaired, it would be so much cheaper and easier for me if someone was able to buy the pieces. It doesn't even have to be like a third party purchaser. Like they don't, like Apple doesn't have to give up their, manufacturing secrets to someone else. It just let them buy the screen so they can install it for me, right? Like stuff like that. And so a lot of right to repair activists just say we want access to parts and we want manuals. We don't need to know what's inside the processor. We don't need to know how you engineered the processor. All we need to know is where do the parts go and what parts are you using? What kind of screws are you using? A big thing is like they start using these proprietary screws that you can't get from anywhere else. They start using these adhesives that you can't get anywhere else. And these practices lead to insane service costs. You have to go, sometimes, like I said, with Apple, you have to go to the Apple store. Like if you want to get work done on a MacBook Air, you have to go to an Apple store. You have to go to the Genius Bar. And then you're at Apple's mercy. Either they're going to try, and you don't know if Apple's going to treat you fairly or not, and say, oh yeah, this can be repaired, not a problem. Or no, sorry, you're going to have to buy a new laptop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I agree with you on when the alphabet soup boys start coming in and putting some regulations down, I don't necessarily like that as much as when it's ballot access stuff that constituents approve to get on a ballot and then vote on. That's the stuff I like to see, and that's why I gave Louis Rossmann money.
Okay.
Yeah, Green, going ahead.
I've always been a firm believer that if you purchase something, it is yours, and you should be able to do whatever you want with it. I know, like this, like stems down to like I want to say like 5 to 8 years ago. I think it was either Sony or Xbox was trying to sue someone for jailbreaking their system, which it is along the lines of the right to repair, in my mind, because if you purchase that item, you should be able to do what you want with it. Just like you should be able to send it to whoever you want to get it repaired. If you want to, take a piece out of it, you should be able to do that, right? So I'm kind of glad that FTC is actually looking into this. I completely agree with government overstepping their bounds and overreaching, because they've been known to do that a lot, because taxation is theft. But yeah,
I'm concur.
But yeah, as long as it's being open, like people are seeing this, and it's the public eye is on this now. It's always a plus for me. So.
Yeah, well, you bring it back to the phone example. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys can see it right now on the screen, but I cracked the back of my Baby Riot cracked the back of my fancy new iPhone Plus 11XZ shit, whatever the fuck it's. I don't know what it's called, the new iPhone. Anyway, and you're right. Like, do you know why I'm not repairing this? It's so funny we're talking, because they said, oh, that'd be a $250 deposit. Like, what the fuck? I thought I got insurance, so I could pay like $10 to get this fucker fixed. Like, that'd be $250, or you can buy a new phone for like whatever, $1,500. Like, fuck that. It works, and it adds character that it's all cracked up. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
kind of heavy metal and badass. But so, to your point, I like the phone example a lot.
Yeah, and I will say Apple, and I just said this in chat, Apple is just my usual example because they're the ones with the most apparent. But I mean, it's across several industries and across several brands across those industries. And one thing, to kind of bolster the point is it's also good for your local economy, right? Right? Did you have to go to the Apple store?
No, I went to Verizon because I paid the insurance through Verizon, but then I'm sure Verizon has to pay a fee or they're going to send it to Apple,
Yeah.
And Apple stores aren't very common. And then during this last year, even the Apple, I live in a big city, like a large city, not like huge, but like almost 2 million people. And like the Apple store is fucking closed. Like what? Like you're the only store in town. Like, well, we're all working from home. Like what the fuck? I got to call. I can't come in here and fucking I got to look at my phone. It's fucked up, And
yeah.
So, yeah, I have built many computers and worked on cars. I'm sure I could just take this little fucking back of the screen off and throw another one back on here if I knew how. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
well,
biggest
or
thing-
you could take it to a hole in the wall shop that with a guy.
They don't exist. They're out of business.
They're out of business because they can't do it.
That's fair.
Because they can't get parts.
So we could potentially create new industry from something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
But not just like you said, not just to your point for phones, but other industries might be, sparking up, right? And then you could argue that it is a competitive drive, and right. So then now Apple or Android will either innovate to squash the competition, or these other competitors that are popping up will take their spot, right? And so
one of those biggest things with those insurance programs like through Verizon and like Best Buy and stuff is they'll just send you a new phone. They don't even like waste the time of like actually repairing it. They'll just swap this stuff over to a new phone and send you a new phone. Because it takes less time to do that than to actually repair your item and send it back.
Do they recycle the
they'll
guts
recycle they'll recycle the old phone and sell it for like refurbished, but send you a new phone with like just carbon copied. Yeah, I had 7 iPhone 5s, I think, brand new ones to Best Buy's Black Label Black Tie Insurance back when their insurance kicked ass and it was like free for everything. But it's usually
it's not as good. It's not as good anymore.
No, you have to pay it. They had the deposits for everything now.
Well, they were handing out 5 iPhones.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when I switched to Samsung, and I've never needed to use it. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from right to repair to right to remove, I suppose it's Aukey got removed from the Amazon store. I'm assuming for Aukey business practices. Get out. I was working on that one for a while.
Just get out.
So Aukey, Aukey, is a third-party electronics manufacturer and has had all of their products removed from the online megastore Amazon. And Amazon hasn't given an official reason as to why Aukey has been obliterated from the store. Like I said, so one thing, when I say third-party electronics manufacturer, they like create chargers and cables and.
I have an Aukey.
Yeah, is it like
in my Sony Alpha 6000? Yeah, it's the battery pack.
Yeah,
No.
they're not like terrible products.
I mean, it gets loose sometimes. I do have to I try to start the stream. I flick on the camera and then it doesn't come out, and then I have to like push the battery pack in. But I mean,
charger ports and cables from them.
I want to say like I have a USB hub from them or something too, like floating around somewhere. So it's definitely like a name. Like if you were to look up just like USB charger, power bank, something like that, they would probably show up. They'd probably be in the first 5 results for sure. So yeah, they kind of got obliterated from the Amazon store, and Amazon hasn't given an official reason why, but they have put out a statement that seems to imply that they believe or have proof that Aukey might have been getting some reviews from dubious sources. Quote, "We work hard to build a great experience for our customers and sellers and take action to protect them from those that threaten their experience in our store. We have systems and processes to detect suspicious behavior, and we have teams that investigate and take action quickly. We have long-standing policies to protect the integrity of our store, including product authenticity, genuine reviews, and products meeting the expectation of our customers. We take swift action against those that violate them, including suspending or removing selling privileges." So they seem to be implying that they violated one of those 3 rules, and it's a lot of rumors floating around right now is that it might be the genuine reviews part, that maybe they were buying or purchasing reviews from dubious sources. Or go ahead.
Well, they have to hedge against Amazon giving reviews to its Amazon specific products.
Yeah, and that was
really reviews that Amazon got in trouble for recently.
Yeah, well, that was one of those things that when I watched the Tech Linked video and heard this story for the first time, Riley, the host of that particular episode of TechLink, was like, or maybe Amazon just wants to sell their basics products that compete. And I'm like, that's a significant charge that I also probably don't disagree with. They were just looking for a reason.
Didn't Amazon have to testify on Capitol Hill about that same issue about their specific products getting like preferential treatment and like being listed up higher in the marketplace? Did y'all hear that story?
Yeah, we actually covered the FTC antitrust coverage. Yeah, that was there was also like concerns that Amazon was basically sniping product ideas from competitors. So it's like, oh, they came out with this 6-port USB hub, has 2 USB, 3.0s and, this many type C and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden Amazon Basics has basically the exact same product with the fucking label on it. Stuff, there's been concerns about that as well. So the reason I wanted to bring this story up was, do your research on products. Don't trust just the Amazon reviews, because if it's true that they were like just getting fake reviews or bribing people for good reviews, that's something that, you'd want to know about before you purchased it. This also means
people on Amazon, like Source. Yeah, like McKenna ordered a portable blender, and in the box it came like it said, give us a 5-star review on Amazon and send us an email to this email with a screenshot of it, and we'll send you another free blender or some shit like that. And it said like in on the bottom it said like if you mark in the review or anything saying that about this, it will void that free gift. It's fucking shicey. I kept it upstairs.
Yeah,
I was gonna post it on Twitter, call them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, was Aukey?
No, it was a portable blender. I think it was called I have it on my phone.
Random company.
Yeah, it's a shitty little portable blender, less than $30. It's Hotsch, HOTSCH. Little mobile blender.
Interesting. So yeah, if you guys were looking for any Aukey products, you're probably gonna have to go to Newegg or eBay right now. I don't know if they're available there or not, but those are probably going to be your best options. And I actually wanted to ask a question to just the for the comments and the people live, and that is, what is the average rating you like to see on a product when you like go on Amazon? I usually like to try to find products between 3.5 and 4-star ratings before I even look at them. Like if it doesn't have, like, I don't trust anything that has a straight 5-star review unless I recognize the brand name. And like, no, like, if like I'm looking at like a Milwaukee drill or something. Like Milwaukee's a company that I understand, like I know the name of. I could believe that there's probably a reason why something has like 5 stars on it. But like if it has below like a 3.5, it doesn't even get looked at. So but how about you guys? What do you guys look for?
Usually around the 4.
Yeah, I try to find 4.5 if I can.
Yeah, I look for 4 with a lot of reviews, not just like
shit.
Like there'll be like 5-star ones I'll like open up and it'll be like 1 review and it won't even actually show the review. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, I'll see things that are the 4.5-star reviews, or even some of the 4, and there are a lot of reviews. And when you scroll down, you actually read the review. It's just like somebody petty, like, well, it didn't come on time, or like when I try to put it together, I fucking snapped the leg off. Well, shit, I don't, So like when I see reviews like that, I'm like, oh, it's obviously a good product. If like the worst things I'm finding about this product is like super petty,
Yeah, I bought a bed frame like that. Like it was a heavy duty metal, like just a basic bed frame, and like one person's like, when I was getting it out of the box, it bent, or this one it's like 2 inches longer than my mattress, or shit like that. It's like, okay, did you read that it was king size? Do you have queen size? Like one person put, it's a king size, I have a queen. Well, bitch, why did you buy the king size? Like, this is petty shit. A lot of people do petty shit like that. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
a lot of
Hey,
petty reviews.
My chicken wings were really dry the other day at a restaurant. I almost called the manager because like I had to drive like 25 minutes from downtown. And I got home and I was very petty about it, and I was going to call, but I expected plump chicken wings. But that's the thing. It solicits a response. Someone's irritated, they go and leave a review.
Yeah. The funniest thing is like if you ever want a good laugh, go to Wish, like the app, or get the Geek, and look at the reviews for the products there, especially the adult variety ones, because they sell a lot of adult stuff. And I think that people listening and watching like know what I'm talking about, like the adult stuff. Funny ass reviews.
Yeah.
People
So-
get detailed.
Real quick, someone asked, "Do I do Amazon Choice?" And I will occasionally look for something that has the Amazon Choice tag on it, but you have to be careful because sometimes they will a shisty seller will upload an image with the Amazon Choice tag on it, because normally it doesn't actually it's not like an actual part of the image. It's like an overlay that says, "Hey, Amazon endorses this product," or says this is a good product. This is like what Amazon does. So you have to pay attention sometimes that they'll like some shisty manufacturer will just put the tag on there. Yeah, that's so that's the that's Aukey getting removed from Amazon for some Aukey business practices. I wanted to make you cringe one more time.
Stop it.
So, so we've got from one Amazon property to another. Let's talk about a Twitch subscription price adjustment, which I've actually seen some partners getting really mad about this. I don't know if they quite fully understand what it is. So Twitch has announced that it will be making a price adjustment for subscriptions outside of the U.S., matching them to the cost of living in other countries. The first two countries that will be getting this price adjustment is Mexico and Turkey. And that will be taking effect this Thursday. In Mexico, the price of a subscription will go from 99 pesos to 48, and in Turkey, it will drop from 42 lira to 10 lira. And the reason these two countries are getting the adjustments first is because they have very vocal communities that have spoken out about this issue, which makes a lot of sense if the subscription pricing is based on what is equivalent to American dollars and your cost of living is very much different from the American standard of living. So that's why the change is being made. The change across the globe will be rolled out starting in the third fiscal quarter of this year. Twitch put out a blog and also said some other things related to it. They assured creators outside of the U.S. that they won't be financially harmed by the changes and insist that in their tests, it actually increases the revenue for creators. It also introduced a 12-month program that will pay a certain amount of projected revenue to content creators that are eligible. I mean, I have some thoughts on this, but let me go on ahead and we'll go around the horn. I'll go to you first, Riot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think that it potentially can help creators in other countries, right? Like we have a global audience. I don't know that we have anybody maybe, I don't know if we have anybody from Turkey, maybe a couple from, it's wild. We have a lot of viewers from Bangladesh and Brazil, but like not Mexico, which is crazy because like we're right, you almost throw a rock and go across the border here where I live at in Tucson and in southern Arizona. But like, yeah, I think it's possibly good. I think it's possibly good for creators. And they'll probably get more subs out of it. Now, does this mean people in Louisiana and Mississippi can pay $2.50 for a sub now instead of $5? Like, or people in California got to pay $10 for a tier one sub? I don't know, right? It's got to get into like the weeds. It's like a joke about the United States, different rates in our country. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good.
Green.
I think everything should be adjusted. Cost of living is horrible in that country. Like, yeah, because I know a lot of, especially in Mexico, like the cost of living is extremely high for how much they make. So like I completely understand it. Like I get it. That's why a lot of uh workers that I've worked with that are from Mexico, they say they come over is because they make pennies to the dollar in Mexico where they were working. They could have had a fantastic job, and they come over to work in a factory and make more, and then send money home. So like I get like the concept. So kudos for Twitch for like making seeing that and making those adjustments. I don't think it'll make much of a difference, especially for me, because I don't have anyone who subscribes from those countries. But um, you know, I think overall it's a good outreach for that market in those countries.
Yeah, yeah, and one thing I saw a lot of people complaining about. First off, they're like, "Oh, Twitch didn't tell us." Well, yeah, Twitch needs to get better about their communication. But I honestly don't think there's going to be that many people that see a difference in their revenue. Mostly because of the price, the price being so high relative to the cost of living in those countries. Those weren't people who were subscribing anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
Those were people, if they got subscriptions, it was very rare, or they got gifted subs. I think with this, we're going to see more subscriptions from people outside of the U.S. And I think the vast majority of the people who are complaining probably had audiences that were mostly American or European, or Canadian. Let me not forget our neighbors to the north.
Oh yeah, Canada.
Yeah, Canada. I forgot about Canada.
Oh, that were big fries from? Oh shit.
It's where like half of our friends are from.
Chocolate is going to be sitting there shaking his hands together like, oh, yes, he talked about us.
Chocolate is seething. So, yeah, that's something that, I think it's going to be generally good. I think it's going to be good for creators. I think it's going to be, and not just good for creators, but good for for subscribers and our viewers, right? If they don't have to pay a ton more, like outside of the realm of what I would say is acceptable to support us, great. And if you're someone that's in the areas that are going to be getting these adjusted prices and you can afford an extra sub, please consider dropping it on Riot or Green or Rev or any of the guests that we had. Seriously, I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. I think there's a lot of people who are worried about nothing when it comes to this.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think Twitch makes a lot of missteps when it comes to programs like this, or when they try to like get outside the realm of gaming. And I think for every like step that they take, sometimes Twitch takes 2 steps back. But I'm actually like really excited. I think this is like a really good step, like to where like what their goal was, and trying to to be more inclusive. I think this is like a really good step to be in helping out not only the viewers but the creators. I don't think Twitch needs to get on a pedestal as like, oh, we're helping out the fucking creative. Twitch really wanted to help out the creators. They wouldn't charge the most out of every other like social media platform. Like Twitch takes the most money than any other platform. They take generally around 50% of sub revenue, right? And so they really want to help creators. They would take less than 50%. But yeah, I think this is actually a good step for what they're doing.
Yeah, I see this as an ultimate win for everyone. Win. I don't think we have much else on this topic, do we?
Really? I would like if anyone like anyone from Mexico or Turkey like wants to come in my chat and just like follow me, that'd be cool. Because like I just want someone from like a different region. Like I like to diversify. You don't have to sub to me. I just want to see you. I just want to talk to you. Please talk to me.
Señor Green.
Señor
Green, tu habla español?
Shut up. You're trying too hard, Danny. Getting too extra. I know you're working on it. I know you're working on it. I'm working on it too. We'll get there. We'll speak Spanish together soon.
Yeah, I'm mostly learning just so my girlfriend stops making fun of my shit Spanish.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. If English is your native language and then you try to learn Mexican, like you're not Mexican, Spanish. I'm sorry. If you try to learn Spanish, your accent is gonna be rough, like for a long time.
That's fair. I'm not even good at my native language, so like I can't even English. So.
Exactly. Like, half the people can't. Half the
Yeah,
people
it's
can't speak
fucking over
English as it
for
is.
another. Like I can't even speak English. I can't even pronounce people's names right when they follow the channel and subs. Oh shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Like,
What's this name? Ice Swallow come? I don't understand. What's his name? All right, let's go on ahead and wrap up the show. Riot, thank you for joining us this week. Go on ahead and tell the kind folks who might have missed you at the top of the show who you are, what you do, and where people can find you, and what's coming up on your channel.
Yo, well, my name's American Riot, aka Vibe. We like to provide that world-class A+ hype, world-class B+ entertainment, C- gameplay. It's a fucking crazy show every night. I'm on chairs, I'm falling down. There's smoke, there's flames. It's everything. It's rock and roll in the soul, you know. But yeah, so you can find me on Twitch 6 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, 6 nights a week, 11:30 Eastern, late as fuck because I'm on Pacific Standard Time. Thanks, Arizona. So yeah, guys, you guys can catch me there on Twitch. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're really pushing YouTube. We're almost at 350 subs. I think we're 5 subs away from 350 on YouTube. I'm really excited about it. The YouTube short beta, I was able to get access to it. Not everybody has access to the shorts beta. So that's really exciting. So we're going to be, we're putting out YouTube shorts and we're doing vlogs. We just released some vlogs on our channel. They've done extremely well. Miss Riot, Baby Riot, and myself, we vlogged our vacation that we went on 2 weeks ago. So that was really cool. And yeah, I'm on Fruit Lab now. I don't know how that will pan out, but we got like 20,000 views in like 2 days on Fruit Labs. It's like a gamer video platform type thing. But that's where you can find me at. Like I said, we love to provide that world-class A+ hype and rock and roll every night for people. We're not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, if you can bear it, it's a lot of fun. But at least we're fucking memorable. So love us or hate us, you're gonna fucking remember me. And we got a really awesome community. Like our community is so fucking cool and so generous and so awesome. Like we're going huge places as a channel and as a community. We've gone huge places since like even last time you had me on your show, Danny. We've come a long way, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. This is only beginning. So I'm really, really stoked. So yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I see some beautiful people from my community in your chat right now. So yeah, I love them. They're really like family. So I really appreciate you having me on and letting me tell everybody about my community and share my community with your community, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I know it was much too long since we've had you on. Green, what's coming up on your channel?
Yeah, I am a piss poor FPS player myself. I'm excited to see Battlefield 6 coming. June is when they're talking about, showing a trailer, sneaky trailer. So I'm keeping an eye out for that soon. Probably gonna be playing some more Destiny 2. I'm gonna try to avoid Warzone as much as possible because today I had a fucking horrible time. Apex, of course, is gonna be in the future as well. So, I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mr. Green Elite. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. TikTok's a big one. I'm getting decent on TikTok, kind of. Hopefully, maybe it's shit. It's shit content. Just it's all memes. I'm sorry. I do have a YouTube too, so. But yeah, everything's out Mr. Green Elite except for Instagram, which is TTV Mr. Green Elite. Because someone stole my name. I'm pissed off about it. I'll never get it back. So yeah, Danny, what's coming up on your channel?
I think this Friday I'm going to pick up BioShock 2. Something something I've been wanting to do for a little while. Saturday night, probably play some Apex. With you, Green, if you're down for some Apex. Otherwise,
I am always down for Apex. The only reason I don't play Apex like during the day, if you don't see me playing Apex, is because I don't have someone playing Apex with me. So I'm always down for Apex, especially with you, Boo Boo.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my plan right now is so BioShock Friday, some Apex arenas on Saturday because I fucking love that game mode. It's so good. And then Sunday I have no idea. The last time I played, I streamed on a Sunday as I'm kind of getting used to this new schedule I have. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. So maybe we'll do some Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links or something to that effect. Other than that, you guys can find me on Twitter at DannyK, DANIECAE. You can also find me on Instagram under that name, YouTube, Danny K Media, as well as TikTok, Danny K Media. If you guys want to help support Rev, go on ahead, go over to RevsFen TV. Also RevsFen on Twitch. You guys can find him RevsFen TV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And like I said, he took a mental health week this week, so go on ahead and give him some love, give him the support that he deserves. Let him know that you guys appreciate him, and he should be back soon. Other than that, I'm going to wrap up the show. We appreciate all of you guys for joining us. It means a lot to us that you guys take the time to watch and listen to the show. Don't forget about the question of the week this week, which is, what is your guys' summer blockbuster for gaming? And you guys can let us know in the comments, or you can tweet at us. If you guys missed any part of the show, you can watch us and listen on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to help support the show, you guys can like, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. But the best way, number one, top tier way to help support the show is by telling your friends, telling your mom, telling your dad. Maybe like take your best friend's cell phone and like subscribe on his Spotify account, right? Just don't tell him. And like make sure he gets alerts for the show, right? If you guys do that, that would help a lot. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening. We appreciate all of you. We love you. Riot, thank you for coming on the show. It was an absolute blasty blast. Well, guys, stay safe.
Yeah, don't forget me when you're famous, dude. Have me back on, you know?
I should say the same thing about you.
Always have room for American Riot.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Green. I appreciate it, man.
Yes. So we appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Love you.
Yo.